Hey everyone, I'm Nate. This is New Compass Collectibles, and usually I'm here talking to you about comic book data, but today we're going to do something a little bit different. I've got a box sitting next to me, it's full of comic books, and I'm going to open it up here on the channel. These walls behind me you can see are a little bare, they need some decoration, and that starts by unpacking some books. So I've got this box sitting next to me here. These are auction purchases that I made last year, but it's actually been sitting here for a while, so I don't remember exactly what's in this box, and we'll find out together. All right, so like I said, I've got this box that's been sitting here for a few months. I moved kind of a while ago now, but in the process of that, I haven't finished unpacking everything that I had. So we're going to go ahead and open this box today. I haven't made a lot of auction purchases lately, just because I'm behind on, opening and unpacking and inventorying and getting some things posted for sale. So I'm trying to catch up before I make any new purchases. Let's go ahead and start that process today with this unboxing. Right now I just see a bunch of packing peanuts, but we do have this small package. It looks like maybe 2 or 3 slabs. So let's go ahead and open up this envelope and see what's in here. Okay, this first book that I bought is a book that I don't typically buy anymore, but it is the character that got me into comics, probably like many others, not just comics, but superheroes in general. And this book is Amazing Spider-Man 252. This is a 9.8, and you'll notice it's also a newsstand. So when I'm buying modern or Copper Age books, I do tend to target the 9.8s and especially the more rare variants if they're available. So whether that's a newsstand or I don't have any foreign price copies, but those would be ones that I would look at too, the Canadian price variants. It's just taking that golden age collector mentality, which I now have, which values scarcity and rarity above many other things in collecting, and applying that to modern books, whether that's Copper Age or even Bronze Age, and especially modern books. The more rare, more scarce variants, they're going to hold their value better in tough markets and will appreciate over time as well. Scarcity is just something you can't reproduce. High demand makes values go up, but scarcity is really what drives collecting for a lot of items. And it's hard to get scarce Copper Age and Modern Age books, but if you get rare variants, if you get newsstand copies, if you get foreign price variants, that's one way of finding books that are highly collected, but just more scarce versions of those books. So the things like Hulk 340s, the ASM 252s, even the ASM 300s, if you can get them in a more rare variant, like a Mark Jewelers or a newsstand copy, I do think those tend to hold their values better in down markets. And I don't know if they go up as much in high demand markets, but stability is something that you just can't find in the typical modern book. So getting the more rare variants is a way that I prefer to collect. Okay, and this second book I'm actually really excited about. This one, it's not particularly desirable just on its face. It's not that rare. It's not that valuable. But it's a fun book. It's Earthman on Venus, a no number because there's only one issue of this book. It's a 3.0, and I've been buying a lot of science fiction books, especially Golden Age stuff. It's just been something that I've been really into since kind of looking at Golden Age comics and expanding my horizons beyond superheroes. I know Golden Age pre-code horror is typically what's more sought after and more collected, but for me, I always kind of like to zig a little bit when the community is zagging, and so science fiction books are, not to say that they're off the radar, but they're just not as talked about, not as high demand. So those kinds of books are really of interest to me, and I just like the subject matter. I find the covers to be really fun, exploring distant worlds and outer space. It's actually a really fun genre, a fun topic, and has a lot of cool artwork associated with it. So I've been enjoying exploring that and collecting some books in that vein. But the really interesting thing about this particular book is actually that it is, let's see if I can get it on the label here. It is signed, it says Wallace Wood, written on first page in marker. So it's signed by Wally Wood. Now, Wally Wood, very prolific science fiction artist. He didn't do CGC signings. Unfortunately, he passed away in the early 1980s. So this book, especially now that CGC is doing certified signatures, I do think that at some point I will want to send this in to PSA to get the signature graded and verified. You know, it's on the first page, so unfortunately we can't even see the signature here on this book until we crack it out of the case. It would probably be nice if it were on the cover and more, prominently displayed. But still cool if he did sign this book. It'd be interesting to see the signature, and I'd like to send that in, get it graded, get the yellow label. I don't know how many signatures there are of Wally Wood out there. It's not something I've seen a lot of. So when I saw this come up for auction, I thought I would grab it for really not that much more than a regular blue label cost. That kind of detail sometimes get missed in auction listings. So that's one way you should be, looking for potential deals out there. And I wanted to grab this one while I could. This is a book published by Avon in 1951. Just doing a close-up of the cover here. An Earthman on Venus, trapped on a planet of peril. He dared challenge its monster ruler. You've got this, cool insect monster in purple, which really stands out against the yellow background. Lady in a red dress kind of artwork here with the hero behind, coming to slay the monster and save the girl. So very classic sci-fi kind of tropes here. And I guess if you're into feet, there's a feet book for you. I hadn't noticed that. But story by Ralph Milne Farley. As far as values, Earthman on Venus, 1951 from Avon. The census on this is 105 copies. So, not the most rare Golden Age book, but compared to superhero books from the 60s and later, fairly rare. But it does come up for auction a lot. Hence the values not being super high on this one. Most recently, you have a 6.5, a 6.5 selling for $720, a $400 or $500 gets you, any grade sort of in the 3 to 5 range. I bought this 3.0. I think I paid a little over $400 for it, but that's because of the signature. So a regular 3.0 would only sell for, $300 or whatever. But with the signature, I paid, I think, $400, something like that. It's a book that has appreciated in value, but you see it doesn't have, a lot of sales, and it doesn't have like a big spike during the comic boom. These are the kind of books that really didn't get that much attention and didn't get caught up in the hype of the comic boom. Most of those were superhero books and then, pre-code horror stuff later. But it seems like as collectors sort of got familiar with the genres in comics besides superheroes, they started buying up different types of books. And I don't think sci-fi really ever got, caught up in that sort of fervor. So it was $100 in 2012, $260 in 2017, $310 in 2019. And you can see even, in October of last year, it sold for $276, only as high as $371 in 2023. So you don't really see these big swings, and you may not get a huge appreciation and value from these books. Maybe you will in the future if they come back into, collecting trends or something. But I also don't see a lot of downside risk with these books either. So they're fun to collect for me. I like the artwork. I like the genre. But I'm not sure exactly what the investment potential will be down the line. But for now, they're just fun pieces to have. Well, that was my pickup from that auction. There were only 2 books. I thought there were going to be more in that box. So I have 2 more books I'm going to show you just as some bonus content here. And these actually go along with the ASM 252. So that's why I'll show those here now. So I've had these in my collection for a little bit longer, but ASM 141, Marvel Team Up 141. This is another sort of close first appearance of the black suit, which would later become Venom. And this one you'll notice is not a newsstand. This was before I was sort of aware of newsstands, or at least before I had decided I wanted to target those. The newsstand version of this book isn't actually that much more expensive, or even maybe the same price as the direct version. So I'll probably swap this out with a newsstand at some point to match the ASM 252. And speaking of the Black Suit and Venom, the final book I'll show here goes with that same grouping. This is an ASM 300 in a 9.8. And yes, this is a newsstand. So I bought this a little bit ago on Heritage, and it's been in the bag and the Mylar ever since. So I just took it out to put it on display here for the video. But a really nice looking book, really sharp. I don't buy a lot of, Copper Age books and modern books, but this is one that, it's just the best of the best, in my opinion. In this age, everybody wants Venom. Everyone likes Venom. So do I. If I'm going to buy a Venom book, I want to buy the best version of that book. So I got the 9.8. It's a newsstand, a good chunk of money there. But, as far as investment goes and holding value goes, this is one that I think can't be beat for, the future. It's one that I like having. And I'm going to try and complete that Black Suit / Venom newsstand 9.8 set. So I've got the ASM 252 now and the ASM 300. So that's all I wanted to show for today. I've got those 2 pickups and then a couple bonus books that go along with the ASM 252. Some books I'm really happy to add to my collection here. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel for more unboxings and more comic book data in the future. Comment below what you think of collecting newsstand comics or rare variants of modern books. Are you someone who just prefers getting the direct copy because it's a little bit less expensive, or do you value the newsstands, the Canadian price variants, the Mark Jewelers variants? What are your thoughts on variant and scarcity in modern books and Copper Age books? The scarcity of these higher rarity variants does mean they're more valuable on the market, but will that last? Will that value change over time? Will it get more valuable? We don't really know how rare some of these books are, compared to the direct versions anyway. I wish that we had more CGC census data on specifically, how many newsstands there are versus how many directs there are, how many Canadian price variants there are. We don't always get that breakout with a lot of these books. So you kind of just have to go by the number of listings you see for sale and the sales recorded in GP analysis to try to estimate it. So having more hard data on that in the future will probably affect, the books, and we'll maybe get to a more sort of common understanding of how rare these books are and how they should be valued compared to the direct editions. But for now, I really like having these newsstand copies in my collection, and happy to share them with you here on the channel. So go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll have more unboxings in the future, and of course, always more comic book data. So look for more videos on that soon, and talk to you later. Bye.